It was 2:47 a.m. when the alarm on my uncle's oxygen tank screamed through the night like a bomb went off. I shot out of bed and sprinted across the driveway to the RV, heart pounding, the concrete ice-cold beneath my feet. Through the foggy window, I saw Uncle Mitch slumped sideways, clawing at his oxygen tube, lips blue, eyes wide in panic. I flung open the door, and the sharp scent of burnt plastic and ozone hit me as I lunged for the backup valve. It clicked. The pressure kicked in. Mitch gasped like a drowning man breaking the surface. The paramedics got there fast, and while they worked, I reviewed the footage from the cheap camera I'd mounted near the RV the week before. That's when I saw her. Gloves. Scissors. A smile. Madison Griggs, president of the HOA, cut the oxygen line like she was trimming a ribbon. When I moved back into my childhood home, I thought the worst I'd deal with was unpacking boxes and helping Uncle Mitch adjust post-stroke. Instead, I was thrown into a war with a woman who made middle school bullies look like amateurs. Mitch was a Vietnam vet, a former medic who'd saved lives in jungle hell. He chose to live in his retrofitted RV for independence. All the legal paperwork was filed, ADA permits approved, city signed off. But none of that mattered to Madison, who crowned herself queen of the cul-de-sac the moment her nameplate went on the HOA office door. Even before we finished moving in, neighbors warned us. "She fined a guy for painting his fence too happy," one whispered. "She uses a ruler to check lawn height," another said. Day 3, we got slapped with a violation for excessive flagpole usage because Mitch flew his military flag beside the stars and stripes. It was the start of something worse than petty fines. The first time Madison saw Uncle Mitch, she stormed over like a one-woman SWAT team, sunglasses on in the shade, clipboard clutched like a holy book. She ignored me completely and stared him down in his wheelchair. "This vehicle is a community eyesore," she said. "Remove it in 72 hours. Mitch didn't even flinch. "Take it up with the city," he said calmly. "Paperwork's filed. ADA's real. You might want to read it sometime." She muttered something about costumes and strutted away. She meant his uniform, his medals, his service. Then came the tax fines for fake violations, measurements taken of the RV's ramp, letters accusing us of code violations for porch lights, and an eagle statue in the yard. One morning, I found the RV window open and the oxygen dial tampered with. Mitch swore he didn't touch it. We added a lock and stuck a battery camera above the door. That camera would end up exposing her. After that night's emergency, I checked the footage. At 2:41 a.m., someone in a hoodie ducked under the motion sensor. Her face turned slightly toward the porch light. It was Madison, no doubt. Same sharp jaw, same overplucked brows, same icy stare. She pulled out scissors, snipped the line, and strolled away like she just completed a chore. I took that clip, added subtitles, and uploaded it with a single caption. "This is what HOA abuse looks like." By sunrise, 70,000 people had seen it. By lunch, veterans' rights groups were reaching out. By dinner, we had media trucks on our lawn. Mitch gave an interview the next day. When the reporter asked if he thought the attack was personal, he said, "Lady, I've been shot at by people who didn't know my name. At least they were honest enemies." Madison smiled at me while trying to take my breath away. That's a different kind of evil. That line exploded. But Madison didn't back down. Instead, she pushed new rules through the HOA banning visible medical equipment, overnight vehicle parking, and anything deemed aesthetic disruption. Armed private security started handing out violations. One to a woman whose power wheelchair charger was visible from the street. Another to a cancer patient with a generator behind his house. Panic spread. Cameras rolled. One mom screamed at a guard who told her to remove her daughter's mobility lift. That video went viral too. Then Uncle Mitch called in backup. Leo, his old squad mate and a retired JAG attorney, flew in without even asking. Within 48 hours, we filed lawsuits, reckless endangerment, ADA violations, harassment, and civil damages. And we weren't alone. A federal mediator from HUD showed up, Thomas Granger, calm, no nonsense, wearing an eagle pin on his lapel. He toured the RV, verified our permits, and said this was going to the top. Meanwhile, Madison tried to rewrite the narrative. She held a board meeting proposing even stricter rules. That backfired. I played the enhanced footage for the entire room, her face, her scissors, her smugness. When it ended, nobody moved. The silence was suffocating. Someone whispered, "That's attempted murder." Madison fled the meeting. Her control cracked. The next day, Karen's supporters started dropping like flies. One board member left an apology note under our doormat. Another resigned in front of news cameras. A late-night host even joked about her during his monologue. Mitch didn't laugh. He just nodded. "We're winning," he said. Karen fought back with a cease and desist letter, claiming defamation and emotional trauma. Leo laughed and sent a counter notice. We weren't done. We interviewed other neighbors affected by her cruelty: an elderly woman on oxygen, a father of a ventilator-dependent child, a man recovering from surgery. I turned it into a video. 6 million views in 3 days. Then came the bombshell. Denise, a former board member, dropped recordings of Madison mocking disabled residents in meetings. "They'll whine until someone reminds them they live in my neighborhood," she said. That aired on the evening news. In desperation, Madison posted her own video, surrounded by fake flowers and the HOA logo. She didn't apologize. She blamed a smear campaign. She didn't mention Mitch. The video was flooded with comments like, "Did she just gaslight a war hero?" At the next board meeting, residents booed her off the stage. Uncle Mitch wore his uniform and saluted a kid who walked up to him. I asked, "You ready for the next step?" He said, "Son, I've marched through jungle fire. I can handle a homeowner with a grudge." Karen was served with a subpoena on her lawn. The moment was caught on video and instantly went viral. The court case came swiftly. The room was packed with neighbors, veterans, activists. Mitch testified without anger, just truth. When Karen's lawyer tried to suggest she didn't know what the hose was for, Mitch replied, "If you're confused by an oxygen line labeled medical, do not touch. You shouldn't be in charge of a lemonade stand." Even the bailiff chuckled. The ruling was brutal. Karen and the HOA were found liable on all counts. Mitch was awarded damages. Several other residents were too. The HOA was forced into federal oversight for 2 years. Karen was fined, barred from future HOA leadership, and referred for criminal prosecution. Outside the courthouse, reporters swarmed us. Mitch said, "This wasn't about revenge. It was about breath. About dignity. You don't need a uniform to earn respect, but if you try to steal a man's oxygen and expect silence, you're not facing a neighborhood. You're facing a nation." That line rang out across the country. Fundraisers launched. Legislation was proposed. Karen disappeared. Her perfect lawn turned brown. Her supporters vanished. The HOA's new leadership rewrote the rules and held a barbecue fundraiser at Mitch's request. The RV stayed, not because it was legal, but because it had become a symbol of resistance. Months later, I found Mitch on the porch, sipping coffee. I asked if he thought we'd really won. He looked at me, tapped his oxygen tank, and said, "The thing about bullies? They mistake silence for surrender. But you make enough noise, the whole damn house of cards comes down."